I do not need to learn new things. I just need to bring on people that know things I don't find. Going to one meetup isn't going to change your life. There's a lot of knowledge out there for people to get. Coaching is awesome to kind of get you out of your shell if you need it. Like certain people, they need a kick in the pants. They need someone to hold them accountable for.
This is where the journey of expanding empires in real estate, small business, and life unfolds. Join me for insightful conversations with industry leaders, uncovering the strategies from overcoming setbacks to celebrating triumphs in business and life. This podcast is your guide through the roller coaster of entrepreneur life. Whether you're navigating the challenges of small business or conquering the world of real estate, here is your empire. Welcome to Empire Expanders.
Hello, everybody out there in the Empire Expanders world. Today, I have my buddy John Bombaci on. Yes, he's my buddy too. Yes, everyone's my buddy. One day, you'll be my buddy too. He is the founder of Candor Realty. They now are up to 550 units that they have and own. Plus, they manage more units than that. He has his own team within the real estate world too, which I am now a part of as of a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know. He'll tell me when he comes on the podcast. And he really built his team and his units around collaboration. He has two things that's really important to him in his life, and that's his family and his clients. So he went from being in insurance to building a huge real estate empire. Let's talk about how he did that and some of the hardships he had to endure to get there. Because guess what, guys? If you listen to this podcast, I'm going to tell you it wasn't all easy. John, what's up, man?
Yeah, looking forward to sharing the story. And I mean, it's one of those things where like it takes 5 years to become an overnight success. And I think that's probably what you're getting at is people forget about the early years, the hard times, the times where the uncertainty. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of times where didn't really know what I was doing or if it was right, but it takes a lot of that before you get to the point that people start to recognize.
I love that phrase. It takes 5 years to become an overnight success. I heard that from Gordon the first time, and I was like, oh, that's so correct. So I was like, wow, where did he come from? Well, I've been grinding my ass off for 5 years behind the scenes, and now I'm successful.
And now people notice. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's a struggle at times. But when you struggle, that you're on the right path. If it gets too comfortable, you probably need to change something.
Yeah. So, I introduced you. Did I miss anything? I'm sure I did because you do a lot. Want to elaborate a little bit on who John Bombaci is right now today?
Yes, I mean, we're a real estate investing firm. I mean, we primarily help people buy, sell, and invest in multifamily assets here in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine. We are investor-focused agents. We have various team leads that focus on different areas. Jason's coming over to help us in a market that we didn't have a whole lot of coverages. So we're looking forward to having Jason on board to help us cover the Fitchburg, Gardner, that whole area as we expand. But our primary motivation and what a lot of people kind of forget or we don't touch on is we're really a financial independence company. Like that was kind of the focus. We want to help people reach financial independence through real estate. I did it through real estate. That's how I can teach people to do it. And over the years, we kind of added on services and features that we ourselves needed as we grew our business. And then as a result, we were able to offer those services to current clients, past clients, and now we're starting to offer those services to the general public. But like it's hard, and sometimes we forget ourselves. But we're really a financial independence company. It's just real estate is the mechanism to reach it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got that way. Well, you have property management and construction and stuff like that now in-house, right?
Property management, construction, rental services. We're looking at adding on more services. As we expand, we need more, right? Like, I don't know how you feel, but I mean, 550 units, we have a monster snowplow bill. We're potentially looking at adding on landscaping and snowplow because we're getting to the size that we need that. I mean, the cool thing about growing and growing your team is you start to need the services and you potentially can provide them to yourself.
Yeah. And then you have to go searching for someone retires or quits. Like I have my rental management is up in New Hampshire and it's very hard to find people up there. We've talked about that before. My snow plowing's in-house for my rental management and I only have 23 units because I can't find him at a snowplow. So I'm like, you know what? I guess we're going to do it ourselves.
I guess I'm going to buy a truck. Yeah, figure it out.
Yep. It's that Ford F-250 is mine now. That's a big, pretty penny. Trucks aren't cheap these days.
No.
Oh, man. Yes, but it kind of started off with one thing. You were insurance before. I got that right? I wasn't wrong.
Yeah, I spent 10 years in corporate insurance, did a house hack, did a second house hack, bought 24 units up in northern New Hampshire. Littleton got me up to about 30 units. And then I quit my W-2 job and focused on real estate full time. And that was in 2019. So we grew pretty quick off of that. But the message is it's a struggle at times. And whenever we kind of hit an impasse, the question we ask is not what knowledge we're missing, but what resource we're missing. Because what I kind of find is as we grow our team, we add in more resources, we partner with good people along the way, and it makes it so we can grow. And so a lot of times when we hit a struggle, when we hit an impasse, when we hit a problem we can't answer, the question is, well, who in our network can answer the question, or what resource can we potentially bring on board that can solve the problem?
So you're big into the who, not how. It's not how do I learn it? It's who out there can help us with this that has the knowledge to do it.
There's a lot of things I'm good at. I am not. There's a lot of things I'm really bad at. And so I do not need to learn new things. I just need to bring on people that know things I don't know.
That brain is full at this point?
Yeah. The time is full. The brain is full. Yeah. I don't need to learn new things.
I would hate to see your calendar. Is it painful? Is it scary?
Today was pretty scary, but it was self-inflicted.
Yeah. I guess we do control our own calendars, right? Or sometimes our assistants do, but we can still say no to what's going on that calendar. So this is not just an investing podcast. There are entrepreneurs out there listening to this too. They may not know what a house hack is. Can you explain a house hack to us?
Yeah. So it's when you break into somebody's house without them knowing that you're there.
You need a set of lockpicks, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, house hacking is just like, it's slang, right? So it's owner occupied buying a multifamily property. Normally when you buy an investment property, you got to put 25% down. Right now it's almost always 25% down if you're an investor, but you can owner occupy it for 3.5% down or 5% down. And so it's a way for you to acquire assets early on in your investment career when you still qualify for residential financing without putting 25% down. And a lot of times I talk to new investors and they say, hey, I'm prepared to put 25% down. And I say, hey, you should house hack, put 5% down. And then in a couple of years, if you're not using the money, you can always put more money against your mortgage. But if you start by putting 25% down and you find out next year that you want to take the money out to do something else, you're going to find the bank may or may not agree with you. So like it's a way to kind of reserve your capital early on when you're starting out and make sure that you're learning the real estate game without putting $125,000 down on a $500,000 asset.
Yeah. And you can chain house hack, which is wonderful because then just running up numbers at that point in time.
Yeah, we call it the FHA ladder is what we call it.
Oh, that's much nicer than chain house hacking. I like that.
Yeah.
I said mine. Yours is nicer. You did too. Andrew Frieda's done what? 65 of them right now, house hacks in a row.
I think he's on his third or the fourth. Yeah. But I mean, it's a fun game to play if you understand the way the underwriting docs work. You can, you don't have to refinance out of previous ones, which people tend to think. But I mean, there's a world in which you could buy 3 or 4 houses in 3 or 4 years and put 5% down or less on all of them and keep the existing mortgages in place. And people that don't understand the products, they kind of question that. But I mean, talk to underwriters that know what's going on, talk to people that are focused on investor-focused assets. And it's a relatively easy thing to do if you understand the underwriting guides.
Definitely. I know I've talked to some loan officers that are like, yeah, you can't do that. And then you talk to the loan officer that understand the investment world, like, yeah, you just do this and this. Because one of our buddies did it, and he was in his FHA for a year, and then he moved out and then rented that unit out. Unfortunately, he moved out and got his stuff out there right before something happened, so he almost got himself in trouble. But you get around it. But it's nice because then you can just move out, move into another, move out, move to another. And you can do up to 4 units, if I believe I'm still correct. Nothing's changed on that.
Yeah, you can do 4 units, but sneaky, you can do a 4 unit with an ADU, which ends up being 5 units. It's all, you can do a legal 4 units, but I mean, you can do as many illegal units as you want in that 4 unit.
Empire Expanders, as I like to say, does not endorse what John is saying right now.
Hey, if you live in an ADU, it's technically legal. It's illegal to rent it out, but it's legal living space, and it's legal for you to live in most of Massachusetts as an owner occupant.
Yeah. Well, ADUs are becoming a big thing in the short-term rental world too, because especially places like California where there's no space, they're allowing ADUs, and people are like, cool, like an ADU, I'm gonna put one in my backyard, and I'll make it a short-term stay at that point in time. And it's the only
New Hampshire's starting to endorse those types of rules too.
That'd be nice because Conway needs some more housing that's affordable up there, and I could do some more short terms under my management. We got to get to 30, 40, 50.
Yeah,
I
go to
think,
everybody and say, hey, we can add another unit on. You think that would go over pretty well?
yeah, I stayed in ADU when I stayed in La Jolla, in San Diego. I stayed in somebody's converted garage. It was fun. It was good. Got to stay in La Jolla, see the sea lions and seals and stuff like that. It was a good time. But so you went. How the heck does somebody go from house hacking a couple of units to buying 30? Like, there's more than a lot goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I was fortunate enough that I had a good job. We were what do they call them? Dinks. So me and my wife were dinks, dual income, no kids, both W-2s. So the banks loved us, and I had the finance background, and so I was able to kind of talk shop with lenders. And then I got to the point where we were at 30-ish units, and then went out to buy more. Didn't have the W-2 anymore, but at that point, I was large enough to qualify for commercial financing. The interesting thing that people don't realize is like, once you start qualifying for commercial financing, like it's actually very difficult to get residential financing. I can get a loan right now on a 100-unit building for $20 million. It would be very difficult for a bank to give me a residential loan on a single family property because my taxes and everything else that go into it, they don't quite fit into the underwriting box for residential. So it's like early on, you have to do residential, then you grow to commercial. And then at a certain point, like all you can do is commercial. And that's essentially where I am right now.
Those 3 letters, DTI, they kill you.
Debt to income. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Debt to income ratio.
I got a lot of debt. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm at like 1.5 million in debt. No big deal.
Yeah. I don't actually make any money. Like, is that a problem?
I got a lot of debt. I got a lot of
I got my
assets.
tax returns. They're all losses, but like, give me money.
Yeah, that's a good point. You get, because, you know, in the real estate world, we get to write a lot of things off. We get to do cost segregation and stuff like that. So it's like, really, bank, I made money, but your taxes say you made nothing. But that's for tax purposes. But I made money, but you didn't. But I did, and you're like, never mind. I'm just gonna go with you. I'll just do a commercial loan. Just live in. I'm done talking to you.
That's fine.
I'm fine. Did you have any, say, mindset expansion stuff like that when you went to the point of, hey, I'm just gonna buy 30 units? Because most people don't go from 2 to 30. I'm like, that's cool. I'm just gonna do that. It's no big deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing was that wasn't the plan, right? The plan was, hey, there was this portfolio for sale in Littleton, New Hampshire. We ended up buying it. When I walked it and realized like, hey, like I actually know more than a lot of people. I know more than the agent. I know more than talked to the seller for a while. I felt like I knew more than I thought I knew. I put in an offer, got completely smoked. But I put an offer on a 35 unit portfolio. And so I'd kind of already broken through that threshold. I put in a losing offer. I mean, I knew I was putting in a losing offer, but I committed to putting in an offer because I got comfortable with the numbers, got comfortable with the finance, and kind of saw the path to success. And then even though I lost that, it kind of said, well, you put an offer on 35 units. Like, of course you can put an offer on a 6 unit. Of course you can put an offer on a 7 unit. Of course you can put an offer on a 12 unit. And so early on, when I start working with investors, it's like, hey, we tell everyone, hey, it takes 3 to 6 months for us to find you the property you're looking for. The first month, we're putting in losing offers, and that's part of the process. You kind of have to figure out where your breaking point is. And if you put in a losing offer on a 30-unit building, you're going to be very comfortable putting in a winning offer on a 6-unit building. But you kind of have to have those sleepless nights and imagine what it's going to be like if they actually accept this offer, and you kind of have to sweat it a little bit. But that expansion, that putting in the losing offers on something that makes you completely uncomfortable, it's kind of been part of our process all along. And every once in a while, your bluff gets called. You put in an offer that you're not ready to back up. And all of a sudden, like, now you have to decide if you're going to step up or step out because they're ready to accept your offer.
What do you do then?
Well, I mean, historically, I find someone that on my team makes it easy for me to get there. Like one of the big projects we did in Lowell, we jumped to a 100-unit building. I wasn't ready for that, but we brought in 2 other partners who are now partners on the team. And basically said, hey, like me, John Bombaci, and Matt at the time, the 2 of us can't buy a 130-unit building because we only own 80-ish units. We can't more than double that. And it's like, well, how many people do we need to feel comfortable managing it? And so we added someone else, and then added somebody else, and then added somebody else. And all of a sudden, you got 5 people spreading that big building, and it's like, that doesn't seem so bad. And so, like, real estate's a team sport. It's one of those things where 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 4. If you're uncomfortable, you just have to look at what heads can I add to the equation to make this more comfortable. And there's always an answer. Like you can go out and buy the biggest building in the world, but if you have the strongest team in the world, it's not a problem. You yourself could drown buying a 50-unit building by yourself that you don't completely understand. But if it's with 3 or 4 people that understand that product very well, like, you will not lose sleep managing that building.
Yeah. When you're talking put together a team, it's people in different positions, right? So sports-wise, we're talking the quarterback, the wide receiver, the running back. Here we're talking the money raiser, the systems guy, the operations, the renovation guy, stuff like that. That's what you're talking about, right? Like, everybody has to have their lane. We can't have 14 operations guys.
Correct, right? So everyone kind of has their roles and responsibilities. What I've kind of found over the years is it doesn't really matter, right? Like you want people that are invested in the asset, you want people that have skin in the game, and then that way, if one person on the team gets sick or takes vacation, or we just find out that they're not a good fit for that role, the rest of the team steps up and takes care of it, right? Like, you could have the best intentions on day one, where it's like, hey, you're going to be the property manager, you're going to be the capital raiser, you're going to be whatever, you're going to find the deals. But if the person that's finding the deals isn't finding any deals, the other team members have to step up and help find the deals. If the person that's supposed to raise the money is striking out, the other team members have to step up and help raise the money. And so, like, it's okay to kind of have your chief, the person that's responsible for raising money. But at the end of the day, push comes to shove, your team has to come together when things don't work. And I guess that's kind of what we learned early on, is you can't say, hey, it's your responsibility for doing that, you failed, like, you suck. Like, it's like, hey, the team's struggling to do this. Todd's in charge of raising money. But if I have to hop on 15 phone calls tomorrow to raise $500,000, like, it's Todd's responsibility to raise his hand and say, I need help. Can you guys start making these phone calls? But, like, the rest of the team needs to be ready to do whatever it is the person who's in the driving seat, like, needs. And I think that's where a lot of teams struggle, is I think they kind of play the blame game when stuff doesn't work out, versus we're pretty good about saying, you're responsible for this, but the whole team is either winning or losing together.
I love that attitude in team, because a lot of times when things get going bad, the first thing we do is divulge and start pointing fingers. You messed up. No, you messed up. No, you messed up this, where you're coming again and saying, look, I'm here to help you. Of course, the person raises their hand and says, I need help. That's the hardest thing to do for most people, because we don't want to look weak when we're with people. But if you're messing up, or you just can't make it that time because things just aren't hitting, right? You're striking out. You go back to the sports analogy, you just can't hit the damn ball right now. That happens. You go on slumps.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do, your other teammates need to step up to help you out. And you say, hey, guys, I'm having trouble here. Help me out. And if everybody steps in to help out, then the whole team wins. Because if you're tackling a 130-unit project and one guy ain't handling it, if you all just point the finger at him, the project's going to get all jacked up. Because whatever he was handling, if you're all just letting it fall, it's not going to go well.
Yeah, it's like the team project approach, right? You got 3 people on a team, you're all getting the same grade. So it's like, if you want an A, like, everybody needs to get an A. And that means, like, sometimes someone else is stepping up out of turn, other times you're stepping up. But, like, it's a team assignment. And, like, you're either winning together or losing together. And there's been plenty of times that I've had to ask for help, plenty of times that the other team members have to ask for help. But, like, you do this long enough and you realize, like, you can't be everything all the time. Like, you need help. And if you can't ask for help, like, there's only so far you're going to be able to get, because everybody needs help eventually. Like, it's just the nature of it.
Everything all the time sounds exhausting. And we all have crap days.
Oh, yeah, crap weeks. Yeah.
I love the days that are worst is when you just try to show up. You're like, just show up. You're trying so hard to be the best you can, but your mind and your body's like, hey, dude, shut it down. I'm not going to do this with you today. I don't care what your willpower says. Your mind's like, nope, I ain't freaking doing it.
No, I mean, we're feast or famine. Like, you can't be on all the time. You'll burn yourself out. And the other thing is, like, we call each other out on being burned out. Like, hey, you're getting a little, why is that upsetting? Like, you're getting a little testy. Take a couple of days, get the hell out of here. We'll figure this out on Monday. But again, it's kind of calling each other out on that shit. I can't say it's not, a lot of times it's uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to own up to the fact that, like, yeah, I was stressed and I was saying things I wasn't supposed to be saying. And you got to reset.
Yeah. Sorry about listening right now. He's talking about teams, but also the same thing, partnerships. All these things we talk about.
I thought we were talking about spouses here. Isn't that what we're talking about?
I'm in business partnerships, but yeah, that thing too. Partnerships at home, partnerships at the office, like, all the team game, all stress. Like, once we get testy and burnt out, we tend to take on the people that are closest to us. So
It's all
understand that.
relationship management. And that I guess that's probably what I excel as. I guess over the years I've gotten really good at relationship management and kind of reeling people in or pushing them out or getting to the point that they admit that they need help and men like, hey, you have to raise the hand, you have to ask for help, like kind of pushing people to recognize that. But also when someone asks for help, you step in and you help. You don't make them feel bad. You don't highlight the fact that they failed to raise the money or that you fell short. Like it's just you step in without a question and you try to finish the job.
Yeah. That's great advice. Yeah, too many of us are just like, I win.
Haha, you lose. And it's like, we're on the same team. It's like, oh yeah, we both lost.
I'm the better partner. Yeah, but we just failed and lost a bunch of money. Oh, crap. I didn't think about that. So that didn't do well at all. Speaking of failing, John, do you have like a story where you went just failed or tried something really hard and you were hitting a wall for a while and you were just like, I don't know if I can continue. This is just killing me.
Yeah. So, I mean, we started a property management company in, I think it was 2020 when we were kind of forced to. We had the property manager we were using, the owner passed away, and we had to make a decision of either building it in-house or hiring another third property manager. So we onboarded the team that was essentially there and we started our own property management company. I mean, property management is really hard. We did what we could. We grew. We got to the point where it got a little bit painful. But I mean, I'm not a systems and processes guy. I like managing relationships. I learned how to have difficult conversations. I learned how to do all these things, but it's not my go-to. It's uncomfortable for me. And so I got to the point where I was like, I essentially had to ask for help. And so that's one of the reasons where Todd, who is one of our managing partners, he's a much different cut than I am. He's much more direct. He understands systems and processes. He has a little bit more of an IT background. And I pretty much had to ask him to step in and take over the management company for me because I couldn't take it to the level that it needed to be. I couldn't fix the problems we were having. And so he essentially agreed to manage the property management company for a year. He did what he needed to do. He fixed a lot of the issues we were having. And then he got us to the point where we could turn it over to a new management team. So we hired his replacement. We got everything up and running. I can now manage the company effectively because we put the systems and processes in place. But I mean, it got to a point where I had to ask for help in fixing the company that I had started to build because frankly, the problems it was having was not something that I knew how to fix.
As someone that's constantly succeeding and growing and building things, how did it make you feel to say, I can't do this?
Oh, it sucked. Oh yeah, he had to kick me out of my own meetings. Yeah, like you can't be here. You have to leave. Like it. But again, it was I had to ask for help, and then he had to hold me accountable for actually stepping out of the business. And this was in like December of 2022, and I was still trying to attend meetings in January. He basically had to block me from my own company. Where like, don't go to John, don't talk to John, don't let me into the meetings because he had to cut me off so that I wouldn't muddy the waters. But again, it was me saying I needed help and then him stepping in and holding me accountable for letting him help.
Yeah. Stung the ego, I bet, but it's what was needed.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it was uncomfortable, but it was definitely what we needed and definitely what I asked for. And that I think that's why Todd and I, we trade paint, we argue, we get along great. And then when we disagree on stuff, we disagree on stuff. But it's understanding that we're on the same team and we want what's best. And at the end of the day, neither of us can be right. It's all about a relationship.
It took a very strong person from him to be like, dude, get out. I know this is your company, but get out. I don't want you here.
Yep.
But if he waffled, it would have really messed up a lot of things.
Yeah, but I mean, that was the deal we made. And so, and again, it's up to your partner, it's up to your team to hold you accountable. You say you're going to do something and you backtrack on it. I know a lot of times people will say, well, you probably know best. But it's like your team has to call you out on your bull sometimes because human nature doesn't let us let go all the time. Sometimes you have to have other people force you to let go.
It's hard, especially when you're starting out. You were past starting out at that point, but some of us entrepreneurs are starting out, and especially the solopreneur, when we're used to doing everything, and then you have to let it go and let someone else do it. When you're at the point where it's like, I can do everything better than everyone, and you can't.
Nope.
And you're way past that point.
Oh, yeah, I'm way past that point. Oh, yeah. And I'm at the point where if somebody could do something 75% of the way that I do things, like, let them freaking do it. And if something falls through the cracks, like, we'll figure it out, but it'll make the team stronger. Every failure makes the team stronger. So, like, embrace the failures. Successes are awesome. failures are better because it allows you to fix something that you know is wrong.
That's a quick thing to brush over. So failures are better because it allows you to fix things that are wrong. Can you dive more into that?
Yeah. So, I mean, when something bad happens, either on the management side or on the acquisition side or during due diligence, or miss something important, like now all of a sudden you won't miss that going forward. If you buy every deal and make money on every deal and you never miss anything, like you're kind of waiting for that shoe to drop because you're missing things all along. Like, believe it or not, right? You know this. During due diligence, the sellers of the properties are going to lie to you.
I was wondering how you're going to put that. I was wondering if you're going to sugarcoat a lot or just say it straight out.
They're going to lie to you. They're going to lie to you all the way through. And again, it's not, and you see it as lying because you're buying the building and you're interpreting what they're saying as the way you want to interpret it. They're interpreting as they're selling the building. They're doing what's best for the asset. I mean, you and I have been on both sides of the equation.
We have.
You're representing the side and you have to do your job representing that side. And so when you're the buyer, the seller is lying to you. When you're the seller, you're giving them all the information they're asking for, but nothing more, because it wouldn't be in you or your client's best interest to over disclose.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, every time you miss something, you add it to your due diligence list, you add it to your process to make sure you're asking for it, you're looking for it, you're checking it. If you never miss anything, your process doesn't improve. If you miss that special assessment on that condo building you're buying, you better know going forward when you email the condo association, you're asking if there are any special assessments that are up for debate. The answer on the condo docs is, are there any special assessments right now? And the answer is no. But you didn't ask, are there any pending? And so now you ask, well, I understand there aren't any right now, but are there any pending? They're like, oh yeah, of course there are. And now you're like, all right. So like once you kind of miss something, you learn to ask the question differently. And now you get the answer. The seller lied to you, but the answer is you didn't ask the right question. They answered your question. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah. And that works in real estate and in business. If you're buying a business too, same thing. Because there's brokers for both. And I've given you what you want. I want this. Well, why didn't you tell me about that? You didn't ask about that. I told you what you asked about. Because we have a fiduciary duty to the seller as a seller's agent. So I'm going to get them the best deal possible. Not lying. But
I'm not lying. I'm going to give you everything you asked for. That's what your due diligence entitles. But I don't say, hey, did you see this thing you didn't ask for that changes the deal?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that is not appropriate for you based off of the side you're representing.
If I do know about it as a realtor, though, I do have to disclose it. But
if it's a material defect, if it's something that is a latent defect, but again, if it's something that's like it's an easement that has no material value.
Now we're getting all in the weeds.
I know, but it gets very touchy, right? Where it's like you can say the seller lied to you, but the question is, did you ask the question? And most of the time the answer is no, because if the seller legitimately lied to you, you have recourse, and very rarely do things like this get settled in court.
That's when we ask for P&Ls. We also ask for bank statements. And when you put those two together, they don't match ever. I remember on the motel, they weren't even close. We're like, what is going on here?
Well, there's bad debt. And it's like, well, you mean eviction. So like, well, bad debt.
The same thing, right? Oh, boy. Or just like, I had a friend who bought a company and there was some licensing issue that was not disclosed to him. So he's actually using the old owner license right now and has to pay him a percentage. But that wasn't disclosed before the company was bought. So things like that.
He's paying it. And so he's kind of recognized that he missed it, right? Like if he was actually
it now. So it's an end game. It's being done. It's being rectified. But that things like that happen in real estate and in business where, especially when you're new to buying either one of them, it's questions you don't know to ask unless you seek out the right people like yourself for investments or something like that, or myself for short-term rentals, and figure out what should I ask as opposed to, let me just figure this out on my own and see what I can do. I like to do what you do and find people like, who's done this before and made mistakes before that I can talk to. And be like, what mistakes have you made so I don't have to make them?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is, I think a lot of times in this industry, we like to think, hey, I got an off-market deal. No one knows about this property. The first thing I try to do is I try to take photos of the property or me at the property and post it on social media. And someone will say, oh, I know what property that is. without me disclosing the address or whatever, like if they saw the property, they know the property. And then a lot of times I get a phone call about something that I didn't know about a property that other people have known was for sale. And it's like, you got to protect yourself, but also share things quickly, because your network will protect you if you give them the opportunity. If you kind of keep your cards too close to your chest, you might realize you're not playing with full deck.
I used to bring you, when I was looking at wholesale properties a lot. It was hilarious. I talked about certain ones. You're like, yeah, we put an offer on that. I'm like, this is new to wholesaling. This might just got locked up. She's like, yeah, I put an offer on that 4 months ago, Jason. I'm like, oh, crap. It happened all the time.
Did you see the basement or something? Yeah. Or yeah.
Yeah. Where I do that to other people too. Like, oh yeah, you want to go check out this in that house before you put an offer on it. But yeah, it happens. Things float around. But like you said, your network's protecting you and helping you out, because they may have been there. They may have seen it. Hey, what have you guys seen on this sort of thing?
They may have found something you might have missed, or they might have spent more time on due diligence, and they can kind of point you at the problems. And the thing that I like to do is I like to find some problems that people don't want to solve and try to solve them. That's the fun part of having a strong team, is you can solve problems that scare other people, but you have to make sure that you understand the deal, how you're going to solve the problem, and make sure that the compensation makes sense.
Well, that's how you make a good business or a good investment in general. Is like, if you can solve something someone else can't solve in business or investment, then you will do great. Like around here, if you have a good foundation person, you're probably in good shape, because most people run away from foundation issues. Here, okay, cool. You're like, I'm the foundation guy. Awesome. Everyone else is going to run away. That means you can good deals. Or if you know,
at least you know, right?
What's that?
Walk the property and know, is this a $10,000 fix or a $100,000 fix?
Yeah.
Versus everyone that walks the property thinks it's a $70,000 fix, and sometimes they're fooling themselves one way or another. But if you have the information to tell you what it actually costs, you can make an informed decision. But people that don't know are always going to be adversely selected against someone that does.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of foundations, is you have no idea.
No idea.
No clue, typically. That's why septics, like, it takes you a lot longer to do septics around here, but at least you know about what it's going to cost, unless you're sitting on the water. Like, okay,
it could be $35,000, or it could be less, but like you kind of have an idea of what it's going to cost you.
Yeah, I used to budget 40 for my septics.
40
and then like $40,000 not near water. Good, done.
Very good. You
and
don't have to rip out the leach field, you're fine.
And as long as it's on your property, I'm living right now where it's off my property. I'm trying to figure that out. That's a whole different story, guys.
Septic easements, it's a thing.
Yeah, working on that, man. So yeah, that's a lot of investment knowledge you've thrown at us right here. Want to give us give me some tips on business and growing a business and surviving the startup phase and the grind and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't know if I'm the right person from that perspective. On my end, I expect the businesses to break even. I expect the businesses to enable me to do fun things that make money, like some of the syndications or some of the fix and flips or some of the projects. But I don't expect any of the businesses that we're running to have significant profit margins, because it's not the way that they're designed. I think my model would be different if that was the intention. But the businesses allow me to do what I like to do, allow me to teach people financial independence through real estate, allow me to solve hard problems that other people can't solve. But the businesses themselves actually aren't the breadwinners. They just allow us to do other projects.
We talked about that offline. I love how your business is synergized to do that. Your businesses are your pipeline. You have a marketing engine that your businesses are to bring you the syndications. That's what they are. So you're helping people achieve financial freedom, and at the same time have a marketing pipeline, which is awesome, because you're helping people, and by helping people, you're getting your business done.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to put it. My businesses are essentially free marketing. They don't cost me anything, but they don't generate anything. But they give me access to other opportunities where there are significant profits.
Yeah, and get you to the 1,000 units, 2,000 units, 20,000 units. Emperor John, how many units are you going to have one day?
I don't know. Right now we got 75 million under management, like assets under management. I was kind of joking with Todd this morning. We're looking at hiring someone for business development. And I was like, we should strive for 500 million and just see how fast we grow it.
Do it. Aim high. If you don't aim that high, you can get it, right?
I mean, if I fall short at 250, is anyone going to yell at me?
When are you going to own all of Gardner? You're getting close, right?
I think we're pretty well saturated in Gardner. So I think we're either the largest or one of the largest property owners in Gardner. There's certain types of businesses and areas that I would still buy in, but we're feeling pretty saturated. We're feeling we might not be buying a whole lot more in that market.
You're most of downtown at this point.
I think we have about 130 units in Gardner, which is pretty significant for a small town like that.
Yeah.
Small city. It's a city.
Yeah, it's a city. I'm in a town next door. I'm in Westminster. But I get my coffee from Gardner because it's right down the street.
And we got a new coffee shop going in, which should be fun. Yeah, we're bringing Brilla in from Holden to take up residence at one of our buildings downtown, which should be a great addition downtown.
Oh, that's cool. That's good. Okay. Let's wrap this thing up for you. I know you got things to do and places to be. The things I ask at the end, pretty much. The biggest one. New or struggling investor out there right now. What is the biggest tip you would give them?
Go meet other investors. Go meet other investors, however that is, right? You can do it for free. You can go to local meetups. I mean, we sponsor 8. I know, Jason, you sponsored some. There's free meetups in every single market. You can go for free, talk to people that are doing it. You can also go to paid webinars, or not webinars, or seminars, right? They're in all the towns. Sometimes they do great knowledge, but I would encourage you, go out and meet other people that are doing it, because frankly, when you're just starting out, you have to start to get answers to questions that you don't know how to ask. And the only way that happens is if you meet people that already know the answer to those questions. You won't know what to ask until you kind of come across your tribe. You have to get out there and meet more people to understand what's actually going on.
I like that. Find your tribe. I will be starting one in Leominster eventually. I just have to get a few things in place first. So John will have 9 at that point in time. He'll be starting it through you. So,
but they're free in every market. Like if you go to meetup.com or you go to Bigger Pockets or whatever, you can find a meetup anywhere. Just go to
no matter where you're in the country. They're everywhere. Investor or entrepreneur meetups or anything.
Anything you're interested in. There's other people that are doing it. And one won't change your mind. Going to one meetup isn't going to change your life. But going to meetups consistently will change your trajectory. I promise you that.
But one's going to be scary. The first one, that's about it.
First one's scary.
You walk in, you're like, I have no idea what was just said or what anybody said. None of the language is spoken in there. But eventually you're going to be like, okay, I understand what's going on. Okay, now I know what they're talking about. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, hey, that guy, I know stuff, and that guy can do some things. You know, it grows. That's what it did for me, at least. I started meetups too. I went to Moises' meetup in Leominster for a while, and that's what got me started.
It's like you learn through osmosis. Like you can't really explain how, but just being there, you learn. Or you hear a word, you hear a process, you hear a strategy that you don't know. Google it, look it up, spend some time on it, and you'll be better for it.
Or ask the question while you're there too. No one's gonna look at you like weird. It's like, hey, what do you mean by that? Most people tell you if they don't talk to them again.
Yeah,
they're mean. Yeah. That's not nice. All right, John. I'll let you go after this then. Where can people find you, man?
I mean, I'm pretty accessible. I'm online, Facebook, Instagram. I think we sent over some links. I'm also at the meetups. I'm always at the Lowell meetup that we host here in Lowell, Massachusetts, and then I try to make it around to other meetups. But I'm pretty accessible. Email me, call me if you need anything. Always happy to chat. And I also say if you need anything short-term rental related, reach out to Jason. They do a great job with the short-term rentals all over New England. I think you even got some down south at this point. But when you chat with people that know what's going on in the field that you're interested in, you're gonna be able to learn more than you know how to ask at this point.
Cool. Yeah. Reach out to John. Show up at the meetups. There are people there that do short-term rentals, syndications, large multifamily, small, house hack, pretty much everything. I spoke at Lowell at one point in time, and there was 60-something people there. So there's a lot of people at some of these, so you can meet a lot of people. I think I'm going to Worcester tomorrow, John, now that I'm fully healed and good to go. So maybe I'll see you there tomorrow. If you are an investor, reach out to John and his group to get hooked up with an investor-friendly agent. An investor-friendly agent are two very different things. They know how to process an investment and how to analyze an investment, where not all agents do. Trust me. I was the other agent before. Now I'm an investor, so I know how to do both sides of things. And if you're looking for short-term rentals, reach out to me. I have a short-term rental coaching company in beta right now where we have 10 slots open. And I have a coaching group for it. And I have a Facebook group. So anything about short-term rentals, that's my niche. Reach out to me. John, any last words?
No, I mean, I would just say there's a lot of knowledge out there for people to get. Coaching is awesome to kind of get you out of your shell if you need it. Like certain people, they need a kick in the pants. They need someone to hold them accountable for. And I'd say, Jason, that the program you're building seems like it's great for a lot of people that are starting out. And I'm sure you can help hold people accountable early on when they're trying to grow their business or grow their investment world.
Thanks, man. Yeah, mine is catered towards people that are starting out in the program. So you have 0 to 1. Either you don't have one or you want to realize how to run one at a high level. That's kind of what it's catered to. So it teaches you how to find the market within the market, analyze the property, all the way to the running automation and pricing at a high level. Anyhow, enough about shameless plugs for me. John, set me up for that. I appreciate it a lot. John, thank you for your time here. I appreciate it, man. And your wonderful, stunning background that's not virtual like mine. Yes, I don't sit in front of a water, people. I wouldn't be here, be out in the water. So, see you all later. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for hanging out with me today on Empire Expanders. Don't forget to subscribe and follow my social media channels for more insightful fun. Also, explore the links in the show notes. If you've enjoyed what you heard, giving us a 5-star rating would really help us out and be appreciated. Stay tuned for more on Empire Expanders.